What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in my studios to wherever you are watching us around the globe. This is your Nissan Nation, and I'm your host, David Boyd. And guys, what is going on, man? Happy Friday to everybody. Here's how happy it is for me. That's a big pour tonight, boys. That's a big pour. And big pours mean big things, right? Cheers to everybody. Kelly, thank you for that $10 bill. Or what I'll get left of it from after Google takes their, or YouTube takes their share. But I do appreciate that, guys. Once again, when you guys do those super chats, man, it does help a lot of things go. And what is going on, gentlemen? I don't see any ladies here just yet, but so I can say gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are experiencing a good Friday. It's been kind of a mess for me. Both sides, both businesses have been like 9 to 5 journalism. Like it's been a jam-packed Friday for me. So hopefully you guys are doing all right, and hopefully I'm coming through all right. Let me see. I'll turn the volume up here. Hopefully you guys I hear it. So we must be good there. Oh man. So let's see. We got Kelly, we got Joe Taylor, we got Ramesh, we got who else we got in there? There was somebody else in there. ATX Trend I saw in there earlier, and who else? Guys, once again, share this link everywhere, please. I do always appreciate it. And speaking of that, I better share this to a Pathfinder group, right? If you don't share this to a Pathfinder group, they might get a little upset with me. I don't want those guys getting upset with me, man. I carry a lot of soccer balls. Oh, let's see here. Pathfinder talk. And we'll go to maybe. Well, you think the Xterra guys like this? Well, who knows? We'll see if they like this. Probably not. Xterra guys like. I will say this, for all these groups, like especially Facebook, man, there's a group for everything out there, and they are all so unique. And even from like Xterra to Frontier, which is basically the same thing, just one's a truck version. Completely different crowds, man. It does always trip me out that sorry, I'm distracted here. I'm being rude. There we go. All right, so I've shared it to a few places, so hopefully that'll be good. Oh, Nismo Pathfinder. Wouldn't that be something? We'll get into that in just a minute. So, guys, Danny right now, you're probably thinking, where's Danny? Where is old Danny? Danny's on another adventure. He's going to northern Nevada for some kind of fun guys trip, and I wasn't invited. Not that I would fly right now over to the West Coast for that, but you know, the thought, Dan, if you watch this, if I had feelings, they'd be hurt. Oh man, thank you, Joe Taylor, for that sound and image is great because was it Ultra? Yeah, Ultra Nation, man. This camera didn't want to focus right for some reason, but yes, and look at you guys smashing the like button and all that. You guys know the drill. We got about 11 on here. Sometimes we're up to 20. Sometimes we're up to 500 or 600. So if this is your first time on the live streams, these are just they're a little free flow. They're we just have some fun, and we occasionally we break some news. You know, when the time is right. And speaking of breaking the news, all right. So first off, I'm gonna throw it to you, Guy. I was trying to get my Facebook or my Instagram hooked up here, but guys, let's see. There it is. There's Joe Taylor. So it's Nissan _community _news. Go look at Joe's page sometime if you haven't yet. If you're an Instagram guy, go like Joe's page because Joe got. I seen these were going around, but I really hadn't. We're going to talk about them, but I hadn't had a chance to kind of download them for all the fun. But let's see. That's your Nissan Pathfinder. Or wait, no, that's the QX. I'm sorry, QX60 interior. But I've seen the Pathfinder, and it's pretty close. So if you haven't yet, go over to what's up, James McGraw? Go over to our guy here, Joe Taylor's Nissan community page, and give him a like, man. Joe's tracking everybody. I think one of these days, buddy, you are going to be somebody in the world, and cheers to you. Let's see. James McGraw asked, Nissan truck, any good? I like Nissan trucks. I've owned many a Nissan truck. But they're all like every brand anymore is making a good truck, so I can't really say. I wouldn't say one's better than the other than like it seemed like Ram had a little bit of quality issue over the past 10, 15 years, but I think they've even knocked that out. I don't. Every car and truck's gonna have a couple quirks, and they always get shaken out. But Ramesh, it is Friday already. Can you believe it, guys? I feel like we were just talking last week, and we were just talking last week. But anyways, so guys, you want to talk Nissans, and I want to talk Nissans, and I've been promising the Maxima. I've been promising it, but these little gems keep coming across my do I know who's making the Nismo bumper? I do, Car Jeep, and I cannot say of any manufacturer that is making any of those parts for Nismo, unless they're stamped on the side of it. But the Maxima, I want to talk about it. But for one thing, I love that 40th anniversary Maxima. We'll just get into it a little bit. Is a sharp car, man. And I think Maxima would be like a true halo car for Nissan if they would actually make it a rear-wheel drive and quit worrying about messing with the Infiniti rear-wheel drive platforms. But the leather and stuff and that 40th anniversary they put in that car, oh my god, that pictures they showed was freaking amazing. But like Joe Taylor said, it's Pathfinder night, man. We really haven't talked much Pathfinder. I mean, I've done a few videos, and I'm always amazed with, like, I dropped a video today. I know ATX Trent likes that Maxima, but I dropped a video today. Today was the, God, I don't even know my own schedule anymore, my video schedule, but on the old Pathfinder, and it's got some pictures, and I've had those for a little bit, and what was it, Car Scoops, or Frank B, thank you, sir, thank you so much for that, man. Frank, there's no question along with your drop of money. You and Kelly, you can add a question to that thing, And I will, if you drop a super chat, your question will get answered to the best of my ability. But let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to my my channel because I wanted to make sure I was telling you right. Yeah. So that Nissan Pathfinder, the pictures came out, and like I said, I wanted to sit on that just a little bit. There was a couple things I needed to verify about that thing that I'd had well over a year ago. Yeah, it's about a year ago now. I was told that the Nissan Pathfinder was going to, it was kind of getting more, not Land Rover, Range Rover like, but they're wanting to go into the nicer area. Now, most of your Range Rover, Land Rovers now, they're not true off-road from their heritage. Like, they're just $100,000 SUVs that, super plush. And obviously Nissan's not going to play in that $100,000 category, but they can play in that having a nice vehicle. So let's see. Let's I could find it. I am a little out of it right now, guys. Let's see. There we go. All right, the Nissan Pathfinder. We're going to go through them, but first off, let's just go ahead and just push this one up here. There's the one we're talking about right now. Like it or love it, the Nissan Pathfinder right now, this version of this truck, or let's see, I don't think I put the current generation up here, is like Nissan. It's one of Nissan's better selling Pathfinders ever. They sell 4,000 to 6,000 of those a month, which is nice. It's not Toyota Tacoma territory, but they sell quite a bit of the Pathfinder, and it's a good model. It makes Nissan a little bit of money, but they're wanting to take this generation into what's up, Steven? Who else? Did anybody else new pop in? Yes, I will get to that ATX. But this thing is selling pretty well for them, and you don't want to rock the boat too well or too bad. So the R51, the previous one. Let's see if I can throw this up here. There we go. Your previous Pathfinder, that thing never, it's sold, but it it never sold in the 4 to 6,000 a month categories like this current generation is. And I think this one was kind of just it was a mix up of in the late 90s. Here, I'll pull this one up too while we're doing it. So in the late 90s, they took the Pathfinder and they wanted to kind of go more. They were bringing Infinity in the line, and they were going to make an Infinity version, and they wanted to kind of plush these up a little bit, maybe less off road, more people who are going out on the town. Like you can see, this is a Nissan promotional picture, and you can see it's in front of the something winery, Pierre Bois Winery. I guess I don't speak French. Anyways, but they wanted this thing to kind of ease into that, but the problem being is these were unibodies, and it was the first time the Pathfinder went to a unibody, and it kind of freaked people out. Now the ride quality and everything of these were great. They ended up putting that 3.5 liter V6 in these things, and it was a great package. And if you can ever find one of these used, they are a great little vehicle. Now some of the tech, obviously any tech now is going to be outdated. The way we've had in the past 5 years, especially. Any tech that we had when from previous 5 years back is like, it's just leaps and bounds different. But I like vehicles that are just true to what they are, and this Pathfinder was pretty close still to what it was. It still had the back door handles up on the passenger door handles where they were sort of trying to hide them. And for those that don't know, Nissan was scared when they dropped, let's see, when they dropped this one here, the actual 2-door version was the first one, and then they wanted to drop a 4-door. Nissan was scared that nobody would buy a 4-door Pathfinder for them because their 2-door was selling well, and so that's why they hid the door handles in those pillars like that. And of course, it became a kind of a trait to them for the Pathfinder and the Xterra. And that's why the doors were, they were not the biggest doors for the back of it either. And Nissan took a chance, and unfortunately Nissan hasn't been taking too many chances lately. But this next one, this 2021, man, I'm telling you, they're going to take a chance on this. And if you watch the video today, oh, Ronald, what is going on, Ronald? Thank you, sir, for that $2.99. And there's no apologies to be late, because if you're late, you can always rewatch the first half when this airs, or when it uploads. And cheers, Ronald. Oh man, that Frontier bourbon is good tonight. But so Nissan with the previous generation, or the current generation Pathfinder, they kind of did away with a lot of the cool traits of it. The door handles came down like a modern SUV, and they just, I don't know. I can't say it was bad because they sell so many of this one now, but it was just sort of like the true Pathfinder guys were just like, I don't know. Like your hardcore Pathfinder guys, man, once they sort of clip the balls, and really the true Pathfinder guys is that first and sort of second generation. They hang on to that generation as this everything you need, sort of like that Xterra slogan, nothing you don't. They live and die by that truck, and the Pathfinder got such a killer heritage out of that vehicle. The first 10 years, 7-8 years, that they it still carries on. That there's Pathfinder groups on Facebook you can go follow, and it's a line is drawn. It's people like either people that are new to the Pathfinder that buy these, that really like these, that are just curious about maybe fixing some problems. They butt heads with those old school guys, and it's freaking nuts, man. It's kind of a good time to watch those guys not get along at certain points. But let's see, Barkeep, welcome back, Barkeep. Let's see, Dr. SJC. Perhaps the title should be "Are Nissan Pickups in Trouble?" Well, Doctor, we did a video about a month and a half ago where I asked that question: can Nissan sell trucks anymore? Let's see. Just notice the fender flares on this one. Yes, there's a little fender flare to this one. But like where was it mentioned? Like ATX Trent said a minute ago, the overall shape of this vehicle hasn't changed. Now where you're gonna, obviously the headlights are gonna be more in line with kind of Rogue and kind of what you're gonna see, like kind of Titan-ish. They're silly daytime running lights that they do. They're going to go to that, obviously, and they're finally going full LED lights on this thing, which is, you know, everybody jumped to that real quick, and it was like Nissan sort of did it. They did, and the Titan, they did the tops were LEDs, and then they were putting halogens in the bottom. It was the weirdest thing. You'd see this bright, pretty white light at the bottom of this yellow colored light. But anyway, so this one here, the biggest changes I think you're going to see is the interior. But I talked about this in my video a little bit. If you look at the hood, obviously you can see the hood line on this and the way the wrap is on this one. And that seems to be a new design trait that they're going with. And it's kind of, I won't say it's from Navara, but the previous generation Navara, definitely Nissan went to this more, you know, in a lot of your cars, the fenders would come up and the hood would butt into them. Where now it's just like the hood's going to go across the fenders. Obviously it's got that. You can see at the bottom, you can see the LED lights. You can barely see the LED lights there, but you can definitely tell the grille. It's definitely going to have the V-Motion grille, which I'm so burnt out of, guys. I love, clearly I love Nissan. I cover them, you know, but like, it's kind of getting over with, guys. I mean, I think the Frontier, when you see it, you're gonna see it does have a little bit of V-Motion, but they're kind of getting away from that. Is from the bucktooth that the Xterra and this current Frontier sort of has. But overall, this thing is like Trent was saying. It's not a big change. I think when you see it, you're gonna see that there's more change than you can tell from these pictures. But these are some of the cleanest pictures I've seen of it. And my contact that sent me these, he got very close to this thing. And sometimes some of these spy photos are borderline setups. That it's hey, I'll be here at this certain date and time. I don't know in this case if that's true or not. But it is what it is. I think overall, I think the design of this thing is going to be, I think it's going to be pleasing. Once again, like I kind of fussed about the Frontier in previous videos, it's not a huge leap forward. It's like they're going to make the step to the leap forward, but they haven't made that full two-pace step in leap forward for this truck. And we all know that Nissan right now is they're not bankrupt. I hate seeing people like run around like, oh man, they're bankrupt and they're this and that. And Nissan is not bankrupt by any means, guys. They have money. They're just, Nissan's a cheap kind of company. They don't go like Ford would with, hey, let's throw 14 different motors in this thing. They do one thing, they do it well, like I said in the video today. But this thing is going to get that 3.8 liter V6. Now, I don't know the setup of the transmission. I know that it's getting the 9-speed, but me and Danny were talking about this privately today because my contacts have never told me exactly how they're going to do it. Now the current generation of Pathfinder is basically a front wheel drive car, for better term. I mean, it's got the CVT transmission in it. It rides fine. You know, there's ride quality, and if you're ever wanting to tow, I would never like. Nissan early on, they had those ad campaigns showing a trailer behind this thing because I think it's 6,500 pounds. Supposedly it's allowed to tow, and they were blowing up CVTs left and right. So you sort of seen them those news print ads and stuff go away real quick. But they with this transmission with this 9-speed that they're going to put in it. Me and Danny, like Danny brought this up to me, and I wish he was here tonight so he could go in it further with you guys. That I think, and I think he's right, that I think that this could go back to rear-wheel drive. I think they would do an all-wheel drive version, obviously, but if it makes sense for them to use, obviously, we know that Nissan uses one transmission across the lineup. Like the transmission that's in the Z, other than a few things, is the same transmission that's in a Frontier. Like the setup's pretty much the same. So it kind of makes sense when me and Danny were debating this that I could see them putting the Frontier transmission in this thing. Now, Nissan with the motor, I could also see them putting a detuned version of that 3.8 liter into this thing. Maybe they want to put the 310 horsepower in this thing that the current 3.8 liter says it's getting. 2021. I've said that I thought that they would bump the 2021 Frontier up at least 5 more horsepower to keep it in class leading horsepower. Maybe this keeps the tuned down version, the 310 V6, but I am like, and this is speculation, like as far as the transmission. I know I was told what the transmission, it's 9-speed transmission hooked up to that V6, but past that, it's speculation of how the setup would be. But I think this would become a nice driving SUV if you went back to rear wheel drive with it. It's a pretty big SUV already. And there's lots of room, obviously, to do it. And if you look at Joe's pictures of the Infiniti that he has up there, there's lots of room in that center console to make that transmission work in there. So that's kind of early thoughts on that Pathfinder. Let me go through some of your comments on it. Also, anything I know about the underpinning of this vehicle is it really hasn't changed. They always tweak things, but it hasn't a big change as far as I know, and I have got no insider information to the underpinning of that. I've just been told a year ago, I was told that we were getting the 9-speed transmission, but I was never told about the motor. And recently I was told that it's the 3.8 liter V6 with that 9-speed transmission. So let's get your comments. I'm curious what you guys think about this thing, and let's see. ATX Trent says rear reminds me of the XC90 in a good way. Those XC90s were cool, man. Was that a Suzuki, I believe? Let's see. Nisborg, the 2021 Pathfinder needs to go Telluride. Yes, pilot. That was something I talked to somebody a year ago that they said this was going to sort of go down that direction of it. And Joe, I wish I could get your picture up here and I would share it. I would share it, and so people get a clear image of it, of what the QX60 looks like. But it really, this thing is going to, other than the current Pathfinder has always sort of looked bloated to me, and I think it's a lot because the previous gen, the R51 was such a narrow, more boxy shape, that this one, for creature comforts, you want more room, you gotta spread it out. I think that this one, the current generation, always has looked sort of bloated to me, and this one kind of, in this picture, kind of doesn't look as bloated, but I've got a feeling since it's sitting on basically the same platform, that it will be a little bloated feeling. But hopefully you guys are excited that the CVT is going away in this thing. And I told you guys a long time, well over a year ago, that Nissan was going to start not completely going away from CVT, but some of these vehicles, they learned their lesson. And I'll save this because I want to talk about something else about these things in a minute. Let's see. People are pulling their wallets out for the vehicles that size and price range. I would agree with that. Let's see. Ronald says, Joe posted a picture of the QX60 interior on Instagram. Do you think the Pathfinder will be similar? Ronald, I do think it'll be somewhat similar. I know it's got the paddle. If you've seen the, let me see. I'm going to try to attempt to pull this up very quickly for you guys. So pardon the sort of dead air. Because I really do. I want to have a nice. Oh man, the worst thing is, like, you try to pull up new stuff and it's a nightmare. Anyways, I'll try to keep. There we go. There we go. I think I found a good picture for us to talk about. I hope you guys having a good Friday. I apologize for this dead air. I know I say this every time that I do this. And the cool thing is I've learned how to throw files in here. The bad part is sometimes it takes a minute to get them in there. There it is. Save image. I don't want to save a web file. I'll pull it up in a minute. So I'm gonna get to a couple of y'all's questions while we're talking. The Titan was being tested behind the Pathfinder. Well, it really wasn't being tested, Joe. I know my sources has told me that Nissan has tweaked the 2021 slightly. So they there's a couple things, but it's nothing that they would need to hardcore test about. It's more interior, kind of bringing it in line. It's my understanding. That's once again it's not completely factual what I have on that. Oh no! Stop, guys. I apologize. Anyways, I can't monkey with that all the time. Let's see. Barkeep says, I see the next generation Pathfinder will have full LED headlights, similar to the current mid refresh Maxima. Yes, if you look at the Rogue, you're going to get a good idea of the interior of this new Damn it! I still want to talk about. I want to pull this up because I really want to talk about this thing. No, not save link. Sorry. There we go. Now we're talking. Save. All right. Let me see if I can get this up for you real quick. But it's their interiors, man. They've really stepped up their interiors, and they've spent some money, and it's about time that they spent some money on these things because they've needed to. Because that's one thing that Nissan's sort of look cheap about anymore is the their interiors. Dang it. And for good reason. Especially you look at a Frontier. Holy cow! It's so out of date looking. Where you at? There we are. All right, this is gonna go crazy. It's gonna look crazy for a minute. There we go. All right. It's not pretty, but it's gonna work. So this pretty much is what you can expect from the interior of the Pathfinder. I believe it's gonna get the double the way they're doing the armrest now is gonna be split. Why? It's some luxury thing that Nissan thinks they need to carry into it. It's going to the kind of joystick shifting with the push button park and all that, just like the Rogue has that, and that's going. I think you're going to see that go across the board. I think that's going to be a staple now within pretty much every manufacturer is going to that. You're going to have a high end trim in their Platinum editions that is going to be fitting of the name Platinum Edition. I think they just can't have a Platinum Edition anymore that just sort of has some leather seats and a couple cool features, and that's it. The new steering wheel and stuff, I really like that. I know it's getting the ProPilot 2.0, which is super cool, and it's going to get a heads-up display, so that's going to be really cool. But hopefully this does show you guys a little bit. Obviously, you're going to get the little joystick in the middle for changing the settings of your terrain settings. But let's see. Oh, sorry, Joe. Yeah, Joe, I need you to send that to Nissan Nation podcast at gmail.com if you're going to send me anything. Let's see. Joe Taylor says, now, not a Pathfinder Nismo, but how about a Pro 4X? Well, I'd had talks within Nissan when I was covering an event they were doing, and they had opened up about how they felt like they needed to maybe have a Pro 4X across the board. Now, I don't know that this Pathfinder lends itself to a Pro 4X, Joe, because it's not the market they're going for. I think the Armada would be more, could go in line with a Pro 4X version because it's a bigger, bolder vehicle. They sell it as not a four-wheel drive muscle, but they do sell it as more of a four-wheel drive vehicle, where this is more of an all-wheel drive. This is, you put your kids in this car or whatever, and it's pretty simple. There's not a lot of you just turn the knob and it does its thing. Let's see. ATX Trent says maybe a longitudinal, I can't even pronounce that, four-wheel drive. Let's see. Ramesh says, I think they'll put a CVT in this. Ramesh, I don't expect it, man. And here's why I say don't expect it. Remember the old QX60 we were talking about the other day? It's built on this platform. Uh, Infiniti has taken a ton of heat in the press and people that drive the QX60 that it's a nice vehicle on the inside, but it doesn't handle and drive like a luxury car of that caliber should. And Infiniti lost its way when they started kind of cheapening up, and I always blame it on old CG there because he was the cheap bastard to set all this up. But they when they started going away from like rear wheel drive stuff, and that's what Infiniti was known for. If Nissan was if you want an economical car or truck, you do that. If you want the more driver friendly vehicle, they pushed you into Infiniti. That's why the G35 was a 4-seater, and the Z was there was talks at one time that the 350Z could have been a ZX and do by 2x2, like basically the G35 was. And so there was a lot of push that we want rear wheel drive vehicles, but let's push them into the more expensive vehicles, because honestly a rear wheel drive vehicle is more of a driver's vehicle. Now, they're not always in weather conditions. They're not always like the best, but I think that's why sometimes it's more of a driver friendly setup versus the front wheel drive is more daily. Your driver that doesn't care as much about the road. Like, they're not going around corners like wanting to feel the car when you're going around corners. You guys know that feeling. So let's see. DS says, Dave, 2020 Frontier with the 3.8 liter 9-speed is about the same weight as the Pathfinder. It gets 19 miles per gallon all-wheel drive. The Pathfinder will have the same engine with a similar 9-speed. I think you were commenting about that earlier today in my video, DS, about that you think that the Pathfinders could take a hit on miles, and I don't think they're not going backwards with miles because the CAFE regs, even though the current administration's kind of lightened those up a little bit, they still have numbers. They still have, I think it's 35 miles per gallon as a company they have to reach right now. Obviously, Aria next year will help them with that. Leaf helps them bring some of these up statistically. But I don't think they're going backwards with that. And in the Frontier, I've not got to do enough time in that thing for to kind of get a feel for that engine, because I need Nissan to drop off a 2020 here so I can do a nice week-long review with the thing and drive it and get a feel for it, other than just going up to a dealership, which I can do, and I've just been too lazy to just go do it and get one for an hour and ride around and try to give you guys my opinion of it. I think part of the thing that you're going to see with this thing is they're going to lighter metals. I don't know this for being factual, but I'm pretty sure the hood, the rear gate and stuff are going to be aluminum in these things. And once again, I do not know that. That's me speculating, but knowing kind of where they're leading, where they're heading, especially with the Frontier, knowing where they're heading, I think you're going to start seeing some lighter metals in these things, which is going to help ease some of that. Now, obviously, this should be more aerodynamic than the previous generation. Now, it looks very similar, but we'll see. I think in this particular vehicle, DS, that this needs to be you pull out in traffic, you feel comfortable doing it. Nothing against the CVT, but the CVT they had in the current Pathfinder, you've got that 3.5 liter V6 in that thing, and I forget what it's at what, 305, something like that, and you don't feel like you're getting the go. So I think they need this part of the interior and everything of this Pathfinder stepping up is they need the vehicle to feel stepped up, and I think that's what adding a real transmission would do for this thing. So there might be a little give and take with that. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing some questions here. Joe Taylor says, "Are you still scared of the Frontier?" Joe, would it be an episode of this we didn't talk Frontier? Yes, Joe, I'm still scared of the Frontier. The interior is what really scares me of that Frontier, and talking to a source today about that Frontier actually, and they called it a mini Titan. So I'll leave it at that. Speaking of which, the Titan, I think sales are down for it 19%. Does it stick around? We'll save that for another time. But let's see. Barkeep says they are not bankrupt, but they are not rich in capital either. That would be correct. They are. They have. It came out the other day, Barkeep, that the Japanese government actually has been giving Nissan a chunk of money to as a nest egg to carry them through, and I think that's the difference between like the way let me get rid of this picture off here. The way that the U.S. government handled the bailouts and stuff versus the Japanese. Like, I don't think the Japanese, they'll give you money, but I think they expect you to turn around real quick. Let's see. Barkeep says, will this mean the next generation Pathfinder will use a different chassis if it's going to be rear-wheel drive based? I don't know. Once again, Barkeep, that was me and Danny speculating, knowing what we know of the transmission situation, that we think that it could go rear-wheel drive. I don't think it. I think they're going to figure out a front-wheel drive version of that transmission. But Danny was selling me hard on the fact that it could go rear-wheel drive. Until we know, we don't know. And I never want this show to be, I try to be pretty honest when I'm speculating, and I know kind of the market and where Nissan goes in the past, or where the path they've went down, the Pathfinder they've went down. But I never want this show to be something where I just say I'm absolute, book it, because, and that's the same way with the engine. I was told by inside sources that of what the Frontier was going to get, and motor wise, and by a good source. And sometimes you're fed bad info on purpose. So I'm never going to tell you guys that it is what it is, but I feel pretty certain that I can trust this, because it was two separate sources, way 9 or 10 months apart on that transmission. So let's see. Joe Taylor says he is done with the V-Motion grill. He really likes that Nismo front grill. Well, if we ever get to see that, Joe, it'd be really cool, wouldn't it? Let's see. Frank B says Ram felt the same way when they got away from with the crosshair grills. Yeah, Ram was like that Viper kind of grill that they put in everything, man. Yeah, they used that for what, almost 20 years, maybe more. Well, I guess just the previous generation Ram truck has sort of went away from it, but yeah, they were stuck in that loophole of same thing. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going through your questions. Ramesh says he thinks they're going to keep that CVT in this, and maybe they offer a S trim where they do that, and then the Platinum offer a different transmission for it. I don't think they would do that, because it would, honestly, they would have to have two different motor options. And I don't see them. Nissan is a company that likes to do one thing really well. So I just don't see them wanting to offer many motor options. And if you think about it, they never really have. DS, thank you for that. I'll get to that in just a second. Nissan really never has. Like in the Frontier, they had a 4-cylinder, only for fuel economy. And then they had the 4-liter. The previous one, they had a 4-cylinder and a V6. Car-wise, they've never offered a ton of options. So, let's see. DS asked a question. Dave, I hope we'll see Nissan deliver soon at least a couple models for the U.S. Nissan promised a lot of models, showed a lot of teasers, but we're still waiting. I hope Nissan knows what they're doing. DS, thank you once again for that super chat, guys. Those help the channel quite a bit, and my goal is to honestly, my goal is, if I could this time next year do this full time, this is what I would do full time. So between this and All Terrain Nation, so if you guys haven't, you see it up there. If you haven't subscribed yet, All Terrain Nation and is the channel that will make me and Danny money. Like the Nissan channel, guys, your super chats carry us through, and that is super awesome. Ad revenue wise, we'll never have the numbers to fully support what we do, but between that and our Patreon that you guys are jumping on, which I appreciate that as well. Everybody's done that. You guys are making a difference, so thank you. And let's see. Yes, DS. Every vehicle, and I've said this many times. Every vehicle that was in that kind of stretch where at the end of that teaser ad where you've seen all those vehicles, everything that was on the right hand side was U.S. market. Everything that was on the left hand side minus Z was global market. And we've got Armada coming up very quickly, and you've already seen Armada. It's funny, you'll start seeing them pretty soon. You're going to start seeing Armadas in the camouflage. The front end is going to be camouflage, and why, I have no idea, because we're getting the Australian version. The EU already has the version that we're going to get in the Patrol. That's what we're getting. So I don't know why they would go through a great ordeal to hide it, but they will. We got that coming. We've got obviously Rogue premiered now. We got Pathfinder coming out. Frontier's coming out. I'm trying to remember what else was in that lineup. Titan, which, like I said, they're making a few minor changes, but and I want to, before we end, we'll end on Titan. But let's see. Nismorg, GTR is not a money maker. They need the Ultima Rogue sales to bump up revenues. I would disagree with you, Nismorg. The GTR is a huge money maker for them, along with Z and that stuff. Now, they don't. If you think of mass production, yes, you think, oh, well, you got to stamp out 100,000 of these things to make money. But if you only stamp out 20,000 and you're charging 4 times the amount that you would for a normal car you're selling, it doesn't take much to sell those. I did a podcast episode, the Nissan Nation podcast. It's me and Holden debated this one time of, does Nissan really need Infinity? And if you break down the numbers, that like Infinity's sort of like, we'll use it as the GTR reference. The QX80, which versus the Armada, $90,000. The Armada, you can top one out about 60. Big difference in the middle. The QX80, I think they were selling $2,500 a month. The Armada, they were selling $4,000 a month, and the Infinity was still more profitable. You do not have to have tons of sales to equal profit. Sentra is a prime example of that. Sentra, they sell over 200,000 of Sentras a year. They barely squeak out profit on those things, and that's why Central moved to Mexico a few years back, was to make it a little profitable. Certain cars, whether it be through unions, obviously Nissan in America is not union, but just in general, unions, everything, insurance, everything eats profit of those cars. So you need the GTRs and stuff, and GTRs wasn't made to like, hey, that's going to be the vehicle that's going to save Nissan. Because it's not. But what the GTR does is stuff like that proves tech for the next generations down of your Ultimas and stuff. GTR is gone. You can chalk that one. It's going away for a while. I think 2022, what I was told a year and a half ago that Nissan had 2 choices they were going to do. Was Z or GTR, but they weren't doing both of them. GTR really has no heritage. The Skyline GTR, yes, has a ton of heritage, and that's the one, the Fast and Furious, you see all those from the 90s. Those are the cars that are super heritage cars. GTR was just basically a supercar that they stamped GTR on. Other than that, the round taillights, could you pull GTR out of anything about that? Probably not. But that was a Carlos Ghosn issue. He wanted a supercar, and he had to be called GTR. He's chairman of the board. Who are you going to argue with? But they are choosing Z. So Z they'll sell a lot more of, though. I think when people see the price of what that Z is going to cost, there's going to be some sticker shock, because part of Nissan's problems too is being stuck in some of these cars being 12 to 15 years of a generation, is they've never had to really bump prices up on those. They do, but not like Supra. Supra is 60,000 or more. I think you're going to see the next Z get into the 50s to near 60,000s on those, and it'll be profitable. Let's see. And sorry for the ramble on that, Nismorg, if you didn't feel like you got the answer you wanted. Joe Taylor, All Terrain Nation. That is correct, guys. That is correct. Let's see. Kicks. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Kicks has a next generation. I was told yesterday that Kicks is the next generation is due out. I was told. This is what I was told within somebody that works for the company. We can expect Pathfinder Q1 and Frontier Q1. Now, if they're going to actually make Q1 for sales, they're going to drop these. Let's see. So in November, generally November is the New York or is LA Auto Show. Normally LA, they do a lot of cars. It seems like it seems like every time Sentra comes out, they always do it at LA. But I think November is now. Well, I used to think it was August, and I missed that one. But I think November we see Pathfinder, and I'm still thinking that we see Frontier this month. I do. I still hold true to that. I think that because trucks are always released around the Texas State Fair, that's where everybody likes to release their trucks now. And even though everything's 90 because of COVID issues, everything was pushed back 90 days. I still think that we see the Frontier this month, maybe the end of the month. And they better make a splash soon with Frontier because I've not probably talked about this on this channel per se, but many of you guys know that from All Terrain Nation that I put money down on a Bronco because Nissan quit making the Xterra. They quit making the vehicle that I wanted. And I got excited about Frontier and everything I was hearing about Frontier. And then seeing the Nismo Frontier like really ramped up me wanting one of those. And then just being let down by what we're seeing within the current setup, guys. It's just got it. I'm still a little bit worried about that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this. There we go. I really am. I'm scared of that Frontier right now because I know Joe asked because of that interior, because I had that truck already with the Titan. I had it. Flytrap, thank you for that $10, sir. I do greatly appreciate that. He says, let's see, YouTube has TFL videos on autoplay. List looking at the Titan versus Silverado. I want to see if you and Danny will do well enough to go after TFL and Kilmer. Okay, so I poke at TFL a lot. I know Andre. Those guys are really good guys. For right now, they are the benchmark of what I do for YouTube. So I will jab at those guys a little bit, but when I do it, it's generally in fun. And but yes, will I go after Kilmer? No, because that dude's a clown, man. He's your reality TV of car shows, and my version of this channel, which I think you guys have seen a lot of, and we bought the Juke to make this point of, I want to do the journalism side. I really like covering it. I really like that I was getting to go to these auto shows and stuff and really getting my feet wet with that and making the biggest thing auto shows do for guys like me is contacts, making better contacts. My buddy Tim with Pickup Trucks and SUV, who I got to talk to well before I ever met him, but just meeting people and they get a face-to-face to you and they trust you more once you do that. So that's part of it. But I still want to build vehicles on this channel. I want to, something that TFL really doesn't do. You don't see those guys get their hands dirty per se. And once again, it's not crapping on those guys. What they do, they kill it. They knock it out of the park, man, of what they do. But I want to seriously cover how I want to cover the brand, or even on All Terrain Nation. But at the end of the day, I still am an enthusiast of trucks. I love trucks, SUVs. I love cars. I love just anything with a steering wheel. I love, man. I grew up loving these vehicles. No matter, I grew up in a GM household. Somehow, thank God I got away from that household of that brand. But I just love vehicles. So my plan is to continue to build fun things. Like the Juke. You ain't seen everything the Juke's going to get and the fun we're going to have with that yet. To the next. I talked about my plans with the Frontier was to go buy one, and it still could happen if All Terrain Nation can kick in. I can still use that channel to fund this channel, which is kind of the idea, and that channel should make me money. Honestly, like I said, that channel should, I can go full time with this with that channel. And I still want to buy a Frontier and rip it apart and lift it or whatever, and have fun with it and show you guys, hey man, you know, my big thing with my YouTube videos is, out of me and Danny both, Danny is a mechanic. Danny, you know, is an ASE certified mechanic. I'm not. I'm a guy that has a driveway and some tools, and that's my approach to it. And I hopefully when you watch those videos like of the juke and stuff, you see that, and I stress it, if I can do these things in my driveway, you can do them in yours. That's part of my thing. You know, Scotty is all about clickbait. I'm sure he's a good guy. By no means, you know, I poke at him and stuff, but I'm sure he's a good guy, and he's found his niche, man. And he's got over, 4 million subs. So people like that. But at the end of the day, there's no substance to what he does. And then I look at guys like TFL, who have a ton of substance, man. Those guys, you know, they've done this now for 10 years or more. They've got it down. And then they've got to feed 5 channels. But when they go build things, they don't do it themselves, man. Whether it be Roman and his son Scotty, God, I can't think of his name. Anyways, they take things to shops and have people do it. Whether it be they did a cool TRD wrap on a Sequoia, I think it was, or no, it was a Land Cruiser. They paid to have people do it, and they took their truck to a Toyotech and had them lift it for them and stuff. It was cool, and then they went and drove it. But I want to do that and still document what I do, and it's part of the thing that we started doing, and then COVID hit, was we coming to you to drive your vehicles. Car Jeep, I don't know if Car Jeep's still in here. Danny got to drive Car Jeep's truck and talked about, hey, this is what he did to it, and I like it. Yeah, Tommy, thank you, Joe. I liked it or I didn't like it. I want to do that. I want to come to your custom vehicles, and I want to drive your vehicle and not do a Doug DeMuro review of it, all the quirks and features, but I do want to come to you, and because everybody's passionate about their vehicles, and especially if you're an enthusiast that has that 300Z or whatever you're driving, the old school Titan, the Gen 1 Titan, and you just want to take care of that, that's your baby, and you've customized it. I want to show the world your vehicles, man. So sorry, that was a long rant. I apologize on that, but let's see. Daniel, I think I just answered the Frontier thing. That I'm honest to God, I'm looking for some press releases from Nissan on some of this stuff really, really soon. It won't get. I don't think it'll get into December, because by the time you get into December, people are worried about holidays. They don't want to. They don't get into that. And then, you know, I was talking about me picking up a Ford Bronco, which obviously it's the Nissan Nation. But they better do it. Now, Ford Bronco is, you can build and price them starting in 2 weeks. So everybody dropped $100 to get on a list to buy one. Once they build and price it, and then in December on those trucks, you can actually put your order in. Some of these things Nissan better look at and go, we better steal some thunder. Now, granted, the Frontier is not going to make the waves that Bronco did, but there's a pecking order, and there's definitely a pecking order of money, how people spend money. And if this year they're buying a, what Ford had over 160,000 pre-sales of that thing. So if 160,000 people, which granted, I think 60% of them actually turn into sales, but that's still a big chunk of auto sales that they've done nothing yet. They've not produced the first vehicle for sale. And so Nissan better get in the line of, if they do the Nismo, like Joe was saying, and they do a cool Pro 4X, they can steal some sales from that. And especially if it comes out before, Bronco's supposed to come out. They say June. I think it's more like July, and I don't think I'll see mine till August, September. But there's a chance for them to steal some thunder. But we all know, and I've talked about it many times, Nissan doesn't have a great thing of timing. Their timing is not intentionally bad, but just life seems to go after it. Let's see. Ramesh says Frontier would be a treat if anything. Else equals trick. I'm not sure on that one. Let's see. ATX Trent Kilmer contradicts himself in every video. Yes, part of Kilmer's that's part of Scotty's thing, man. And once again, the dude, whether it be his crazy like doing this all the time or whatever he does, he's animated. His voice is like super annoying to me. Once again, he's probably a super nice guy. But yeah, all that dude has a gem in a show because he has these customers that have him fix their vehicle, probably where you see him record these videos, and he has cars. He doesn't have to go get cars. And my buddy Tim with Pickup Trucks and SUVs said he's seen him at the Houston Auto Show last year and said the dude is in person is just the same dude. So, but yes, I had my video that I did on Scotty on the last Xterra review he did was I've had people attack me, Scotty guys that come attack me on there and like I'm an idiot and Scotty knows everything, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I guess he does. I will say this though, at 4 million subs, that dude is rolling in money. Like, he's banking some money. Knowing what little bit I make it with this channel, that dude is making some money, man, and good for him, man. And I said that in a one live video I did with him of like, hey man, more power to you. You found your thing, do it. Let's see. Flytrap says, "By go after I mean compete on views and production output, Dave." Yes. So, like I was saying earlier, my goal is to do this full time. Once I can do this full time, guess what? The door's open for me to be able to go anytime I want to a dealership and go grab a Nissan or run to HQ and do more meetings with those guys and build more relationships over there. Because, you know, even though, and I get this a lot, I bug Nissan like crazy. And part of, we do these big pushes for subs on these channels because the bigger this channel looks, the more the right people at Nissan take me seriously. And this show is a unique thing of, because there's not very many. When I started this, I was the only like brand really specific podcast. There was a lot of 4-wheel drive podcasts and stuff, but I took on the Nissan brand because I knew it and I loved it. Then my buddy with Toyota Trucks and Trails asked me, hey man, show me how you did that. So I helped him get into that. He did a Toyota version of it. And now there's starting to be more people going down this path, but I was told that I was too Nissan for Nissan. And this was about 6-7 months ago. I had a meeting. I was going through an email back and forth, and the dude called me. I won't throw his name out because he'll retire soon. But I was told that he's a print and ag guy. That's how they want to spend their money, which clearly it's Nissan. So, and he told me, blank, I don't get social media. I'm just old school is what he said. And so they don't want to YouTubers, they don't want to take us super seriously. But part of the problem too is I'm literally 15 minutes from HQ. There's not enough press in my area to get vehicles. So the reason TFL gets a lot of vehicles, because they're in the Denver area, and Denver is a hub for press fleet because there is multiple outlets around the Denver area, and in with the kind of the whole 4 states or whatever it is around there, that so it makes sense for them. They're going to get a lot more bang for their buck. In Nashville here, I do not know why it's a nightmare to get press vehicles, but it is. But yes, if once I can make this full time, gloves are off, man. You will see. I will GTRs, whatever I can get my hands on. We will do it. So let's see. Nismore, will Nissan reserve their breaking news from you? Oh, well, they. I will say this. I was told about a month ago that I am not on their buddy list right now. Nismore, because of that picture. Now, I talked to Nismo recently, about 2 weeks ago. Nismo still loves me, man. I've got some really cool exclusive Nismo stuff I need to just finish setting up. The Desert Runner truck that they built in SEMA last year, I've been offered to drive that vehicle. He's like, hey, do you want to do a video on that vehicle? You driving it and stuff? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do a video on that truck. The little kicks that they did, I've been told I can do a walk around on that one because there was some technical issues on that one that they hadn't worked all the bugs out. But Nismo likes this kind of exposure. So, and Nismo is different than Nissan, you know. They're a pirate ship, and they like doing pirate ship things. So they do like what I do. So let's see. Ethan Daewoo. Frank B, I haven't caught up on that one. But yes, Nismorg, I was told a while back that I would probably not be invited to the if back when we could go to these things, I probably wouldn't be invited to that Frontier release, which is a bummer, but is what it is. I think when I broke the news of that truck, that was not, I won't say good enough for me because it's never good enough, but I'm okay. I could live with that if I didn't get invited, but I also know that I can go to many dealers around here, and as soon as they get one, I can get in these vehicles. So it seems Nissan doesn't get the concept of synergy and striking while the iron's hot. Yes, that is true. That is true. Let's see. ATX Trent says TFL is blacklisted by Ford for being unethical. I will say that's one thing that TFL shouldn't have done, and I think I went on a rant about this on one of the live shows. They got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. They had an engineer within Ford feeding them those pictures. I do not know whatever happened to that engineer, whether they actually caught the guy who did it, was sending them those. But they have this big thing of they want to be first. Now, I can guarantee you, on Truckline especially, this channel beats them almost every time at first. It's because I'm connected to one brand. I don't have to, well, I guess now with All Terrain Nation, I will be more connected. But they get caught up in this, we got to be first, when there was nobody, who else had that picture of that shifter that they got busted with, or the center stack that they got busted with. There was nobody had that. And they went in and rushed to be the first to show it, which was, I watched the video, you know, yeah, it's exciting. But you can't bite the hand that feeds you. And in the automotive world, especially truck-wise, you don't want to piss Ford off because Ford is the big dog versus all the others. And so it's going to take them a while to come back on that. Let's see. George says, will there finally be a V6 in the Nissan Titan? I think we're going to see that unless we don't see a Titan anymore. It can go two ways. I think we do finally see a V6 in that thing because I think Nissan's taken so much crap for the base Titan being so much more expensive than whatever the little four-cylinder the base F-150 is. It's not apples to apples, but people don't look at that. They read, oh, Nissan's base truck is $38,000, Ford's is $28,000. Well, that's a no-brainer. But they don't realize with Nissan you're getting all these cool features. But I do think that if the Titan can hang around, that they have the motor to do it now. They have the engine option to put in that truck. It mates to that 9-speed transmission. So I think the pieces are in the line for that. So yes, I do think we will see that. Let's see. Barkeep, I'm not going to dive into Scotty other than he has opinions that I do not agree with, but he has his fans and that's fine. I do agree. People that like Scotty, more power to him. Oh, Flytrap. Sorry, I just seen your super chat. Let's see, Dave. My point was for you to have the views and money to compete with TFL blow for blow. I am eager to see what you guys do. The real builds and driveway interviews. Thank you, man. I do like you and Kelly and a few others, man, have been super generous to us, and I can't say thank you enough. And I'm not sucking up to you guys about it. It does mean a lot to me. And after these shows, I need the Copelands to come back. Is what I need. Kevin Copeland, because those guys were dropping $100 in these things. But and I kid. But I tell my wife every night when I get done with these, man, that I'm just blown away by the generosity of you guys. And honestly, it's the love of this brand, and this is stuff Nissan needs to pay attention to. That people, if they'll fund this little show about a brand that's seventh on the list right now of like brands that people think about, I should say something, man. The people love the brand. Let's see. Joe Taylor says Nissan needs a new slogan. Yes, they're gonna. I was told they were gonna play on heritage, Joe. Hey, and speaking of, Nissan dropped a new ad that should piss either half America off or make half of America happy. I don't know if you guys have seen that ad where they've diversity, which I have no problem with, but it's like just feels forced diversity ad. Let's see. Joe Matoy says, I hope the new Pathfinder has a rugged edition. I bet they do a Rock Creek edition still. Dude, Holden did a video for us, a walk around video on the Rock Creek from 18. That video still gets a lot of views, so there's still interest in that. It trips me out. Let's see. Joe Nismark says, Joe, I thought that's what they were doing with the Brie Larson thing. I think they learned their lesson with the Brie Larson thing, Nismark. Once again, nothing against her. I just think she was she was already a lightning rod for wrong publicity. And I know the lady that I know their head of PR for that, and she wanted that, but it's whatever. I mean, everybody's looking for a in with some crowd. So what I hear you saying, Dave, is we need to move you to Denver. I actually was gonna move to Denver, and Denver forced me not to move there. Once they legalized, man, prices went nuts. But right before they legalized, I was going, and it wasn't for that. It was just I was going because I love Denver. I would say this right now. If I were to move anywhere, there's two places. Georgia, I would move, and only because the weather's a little nicer. I hate to move away from Nissan, but if I was going to move, Georgia or Salt Lake City would be my number one place to live right now. I don't like that they have state income tax and weird stuff like that we don't have in Tennessee, but I also like it's just Utah is the prettiest state I've ever been in, man. Now, I've not been to Hawaii yet, but overall, the things you can do in Utah, and even sort of Arizona. When we were looking at Denver, I was going to move in 2011. I was going to move to Denver. We were going to pack up and move the family there. It was either Denver or we were going to move to Phoenix. And Phoenix was really cool because you're 5 hours from everything. You're basically 5 hours from LA. You're 5 hours from snow, and and obviously it's nice weather. Well, if you like heat, it's nice weather. But I think right now, out of my travels, I think Utah is the prettiest state I've ever been to, and just they got snow. You can drive south, and you're back into the warm temperatures. And I was blown away with that last Titan adventure I did in Park City. God, I know it's an expensive area. It's a very money area, but I was blown away with that area, man. Just wow. Just I love that. Let's see. Is that a old iPod Mini on the wall? Oh, this thing? No. This is my it controls my air conditioner above me, which I've got to wrap so you guys can't really see that, but it's part of moving the studio in this position where I'm at. I've got a video too that I've got to finish up that of the studio I've built up here. I've got a nice couch area for if I ever have people over to actually, because I do want to podcast again. But so I've got this is the audio area, and where basically I do all my editing and stuff here. But I got to finish that video so you guys, nobody will watch it, but it was fun for me to record how we had to remodel up here, and my daughter helped me and stuff. It was really fun. Let's see. Sorry guys, I am rambly tonight. Must be the whiskey that I haven't drank enough of. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Joe said, "What happened to the 40th anniversary Maxima show? Did you miss it?" No. I'm making a promise, guys. Next week is the 40th anniversary Maxima show. Joe, this picture that you see up here right now, they just keep dropping in front of me that kind of screw up some of the shows I have planned. Let's see. Barkeep says, not sure. I thought it was going to happen last week, but then it was supposed to happen. Once again, I apologize, guys. We're going to get it, though. We're going to get it. The cool thing about when I do these, if you ever want to rewatch them, they're on YouTube. Let's see. We are the Nissan Nation community /nation. Yes. Let's see. The Latinos ad, Joe Taylor says. I mean, it was a diverse ad on that thing, but it was just a weird ad, Joe. Much like the Brie Larson ad, where it just felt like they were like, oh, this is what everybody wants to see right now. I mean, nothing against that ad. I watched it. It didn't bother me by any means. I'm not a person that hates any other race or anything. I'm a person who loves everybody, but I just thought it felt kind of forced. Let's see. Frank B, thank you for being here, buddy. You have a good weekend, and I bet we'll see you Sunday night. Let's see. Dave, what made me a Nissan fan? Let's see. I've got to set Kelly down, and if you listen to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, if you listen to them, go to episode 13. You will hear my story about this that I recorded a long time ago. But to boil it all down, let's see. I'm a guy that kind of likes the underdog. Nissan's kind of always been the underdog, except for the fact that when Nissan decided to move, I think it was 1979, when they decided they were going to open up a plant in the United States, and they picked a little town called Smyrna, Tennessee to do it, which was a one-light town. I kid you not. The only thing that town had going for it was it had Interstate 24 running through it, and it had Interstate 40 5 or 6 miles up the road. So to build something, they had access to basically the whole United States quickly. They chose our town, or they chose that town. I live in a town called Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It just changed the towns overnight, man. I've watched people retire from that place, made a great living that they may have not had otherwise. It's hard work. I worked for Nissan. I built trucks. If you have a 2011 or 12 Nissan Xterra, Pathfinder, Frontier, JX35, Infiniti JX35, which they now call the QX60, I had a hand in that truck. But I never wanted to work for Nissan either. But I just seen what good it did for my community. And I like their vehicles, man. All through the 90s, the 240s were probably some of my favorite vehicles from the 90s. The old SX, I loved it. One of my first loves was the Silvia, but it was this pop-up headlight Silvia from the mid-'80s. I forget what chassis code they use on those. But I loved it as a little kid. I loved Nissan from then, and I don't know why. It just, something about them appealed to me. My brother, rest his soul, had a 76 or 7, maybe a 78 B210 with it had the honeycomb hubcaps. Really weird. It was yellow. He was a Chevy guy, and he bought this car because it was cheap, good on fuel. Some of my best memories were in that thing. I remember being a little kid. This dates me something fierce, and it brings up a good memories of my brother too. Which if you watch I released that video when my brother died of the Frontier, and that was part of the reason I released it, man. Was not for my brother because he wasn't a Nissan fan per se, but I just felt like it was time to do it. But anyways, I remember the radios. People were starting to get into radios and stuff, and I remember hearing "Hungry Like a Wolf" in the back of that Datsun B210. And every time I hear that song, I think of my brother, and I see those cars, I think of my brother. And my brother, honestly, was a big reason why I got into cars. But I just love the brand, man. I don't know why. The hard bodies, I loved the hard bodies. Just thought they were cool. The 720s before that, I thought those were, especially in, and I'm so old that we dropped trucks. We were lowering trucks, not raising them. And you threw a topper on it. You put a big system in the back of the thing, and the double lights of those trucks were just something about that truck when you dropped it was just amazing, man. And so my parents had a 82 Sentra. I think it was 82 Sentra. That was their first import they ever bought. And my parents they're hardcore GM people, and I don't remember why they bought that car. But I remember they toured the plant when they opened up the plant here in Smyrna, Tennessee. It was a big deal. And I just overall I know that sounds rambly, but it's just they made a difference in everybody I know's life here, whether you work for them or not. They just made a difference. And you know, a lot of people can't say that about a lot of manufacturers like GM, Ford. Generations grew up in Detroit. They didn't see the changes that those places made for the community. They just got to benefit from it. I seen firsthand what Nissan did for this community. So long story short, that's kind of how I got into it, man. Let's see. Yes, the Barkeep, the show is happening. I promise, 40th anniversary. We will talk about that car. Joe Taylor says your mom had a Pulsar. Yes, I love those cars, man. Let's see. 82 B210 two-door was your first car. That's awesome, man. Those B210s, I like the goofy weird hatch of it. Like, it was just a strange looking car, man. Let's see, 88 Nissan Maxima Aqua Blue digital dash. Those digital dashes, though, man. I was going through when I did that video at ZCon, and I was looking at those 300Zs from the 80s. God, those dashes so don't hold up, man. They don't hold up at all. Like, that car, I don't like the 300s from that time period. Nothing against the car. It's just, it doesn't do anything for me. But I was going through those cars, going down memory lane, because I remember when those came out. And it was a big deal here in Smyrna. They had one in the plant that when they were doing plant tours, you could see. And at the time, yeah, those digital dashes were so cool. But they don't hold up as far as, like, the looks of a vehicle. I can get past a tape deck, anything, but a poorly, what's considered now a poorly looking dash, very 80s, man. Let's see. We'll get a few more questions in here. Joe Taylor, thank you, buddy. Yeah, my brother meant a lot to me, and he just had a lot of health problems, and it wasn't COVID that got him, but COVID is what got him, because we couldn't go see him in the hospital when he was in there, and he went in for something sort of routine, easy, should have came out. And my brother was just a tender-hearted dude, man. He got lonesome and passed away. So let's see. Your dad's Nissan Sentra was the first car you drove, Ramesh. What year was that at? Curious. Joe, thank you for saying that. He would be proud. He subscribed to this channel. He watched what I did, and I would talk to him back and forth, and he would always call it Jap crap, you know, the goofy slang, but he loved working with me on my vehicles, and anything I really like. My dad helped me get into working on vehicles because my first car was an '85 Buick Skyhawk that the transmission would leak like crazy. You were always fixing it. But my brother's what really got me passionate about, like, wanting to do things right. Let's see. Joe Taylor says Q60 is getting the 3.8. Yes, Joe, I cannot confirm that the Q60 is getting it, but it makes sense if the Pathfinder is getting that engine, that the QX60 would get that engine. They're twins, basically. So let's see. Barkeep says my uncle drove a '94 hardbody base XE with a V6. Grew up with that truck. Later had a supercharged Frontier, then a Rogue for a little bit, and now a 19 Pro 4X. I miss my Pro 4X. I had a white 2012 Pro 4X. Most fun off-road I've ever had was in that truck. I've had Jeeps that were okay. That Pro 4X did it for me, man. I love Xterra. Like, I'm an Xterra nut. But that Pro 4X Frontier I had, something about it. I just loved off-roading that thing and beat the crap out of it. A few months ago, the kid that bought it was over here. It was really cool. I seen him out one day and I talked to him, and I had an extra set of keys and I kept them. So I sold that truck in 17. I had the extra set of keys, and I always told my wife, we'll see that truck out one day and I'll tell that guy I want to give him the extra set of keys, and I did. He was super happy about it too. Let's see, 92 Nissan Sentra. Ooh, I love those. I love those weird Sentras like that, man. Especially the 2 doors that they did, Ramesh. Like the doors were long, just like super goofy long, and but you could make you could make those a fast little car, man. Let's see, Gran Turismo, and my coworker who brought an Altima inspired me to buy a Nissan, in which got me into Nissans in general. Thank you, Barkeep. Let's see. They will never bring back the Xterra, Joe, unfortunately. And oh, sorry, Flytrap, I missed your super chat. I apologize. Let's see. Have I been to Vermont and New Hampshire yet? No, that's a bucket list place, man, that I want to go. I've been able to explore pretty much all the other corners of America except that one. But no, I want to see, like everybody up in Vermont and that New Hampshire area, I want to see the season change. I'd like to see that, but I don't want to live up there because I'm from Ohio originally, and I want to keep getting into warmer weather. I don't want to go to colder weather. Not that our cold weather here in Middle Tennessee is from January to February. That's about it. So let's see. I'll get a few more of these guys. If you feel like I've been rambling tonight, I apologize. There was a lot to talk about with Pathfinder, but then not a lot to talk about, or I can talk about. Joe Taylor says his dad bought Infiniti, the i35, brand new in 3. Had to get a new engine at $80K, and then it was rear-ended. That's a bummer. New Xterra to compete with Bronco, Nisborg says no. Unfortunately, like I was saying earlier, you will never see a new Xterra. Nissan didn't own the Xterra name. There's a race called the Xterra race. They licensed to use that name. Nobody ever noticed. Like, they sponsored that race for the first few years. I'm sure it was part of the licensing deal. But it's why we call the Terra now in the Philippines area. That's why it's called the Terra, is because they just took the X off of it. They don't want to pay the licensing anymore. It's my understanding, anyways. And I don't blame them. And I think, honest to God, though, and I've said this many videos. I've done a couple videos on this, and I've talked about it in these live videos a lot. Nissan would be stupid not to bring the Terra to the United States as a base, bare bones SUV. It doesn't need a 15-inch tablet in the center stack. Go back to the everything you need, nothing you don't. The Bronco. Yeah, the Bronco that I will buy has a lot of tech in it. That's not why I bought that thing, man. I wanted something that was unique and cool. And, I mean, I guess you say it's unique versus a Wrangler, but it's unique. It's cool. Nissan would be smart to do that Terra here in the United States and call it a Terra. Or I would call it a Patrol Sport or something like that. I think Nissan needs to bring the Patrol name to the United States. And they've done this. They have a history of doing something like a Patrol or a something Sport. Like they did the Rogue. The Rogue Sport now, which I think has gone away. I don't think there's been a press release on that, but I don't think they're bringing the updated Rogue Sport to the United States. It's a vehicle I don't pay attention to, so that's why I may be talking out of my ass about it. But they have a history of, like, when they did the Rogue, they did what they called the Rogue Classic or something when they brought out the previous generation. They have a history of kind of doing these things of, like, let's make a sport version. I would do that Terra in the United States all day long. Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit to bring it up to crash standards and the glass. I know safety glass is different in the United States versus other countries, but do it. It wouldn't cost Nissan has a history of like the Kicks. The Kicks was not developed for the United States market at all. They decided the Juke was playing in too much of the performance space that they wanted. They wanted like Rogue and some of these things. That's why the Kicks has got a weak ass engine in it. And it's not going to compete with Rogue Sport or whatever, Qashqai or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to compete with Rogue sales because it is smaller. So they brought in this Kicks from the South American market. Nissan was proud of that. This was designed for the South American market. They were super proud of that when that Kicks came out. We needed a. There's like all manufacturers. There's a price point, and it seems to be about $1,000. We'll pluck this. We'll put it into that price point. Works. I like the Kicks. I think it's a cool looking little car, man. I'd like to spend a week in it if Nissan would ever send me one. The only vehicle I've been able to get is the latest Versa from Nissan, and that was because of that picture I had. Basically, they didn't want that out, and they sent me a vehicle for it. I didn't blackmail them. It was like, hey, let's play ball with Dave. But I would do all day long. I would call it a patrol. I know in the AU or Australia, you've got the patrol. That's the big Armada. Nissan. I was saying this earlier, and I think I got rambly. They've toyed with changing the name of the Armada to Patrol. They've toyed with that idea. They do have talks on these things. I was told by somebody within Nissan's PR department about this. I wouldn't do it. I'd leave the Armada alone. Just call it Armada. But bring something out like that Terra here in the United States and call it a Patrol Sport, like whatever you want to call it. That 3.8 liter V6 in it, 310 horsepower. I do think the next generation Frontier that the torque numbers should be up some. I think that they've lowballed those numbers on that engine, and I think with the next they want to be able to go, okay, hey, we bumped it up. Look, you're more horsepower. But could you imagine something in sort of in between a Gen 2 Xterra and sort of a Gen 1 Xterra with 310 horsepower? Obviously, the four-wheel drive system is going to be switchable. The days are gone of an actual manual transfer case. But I think that if they kept it $25,000 to $35,000, keep that price range. Toyota 4Runner is due out in 2022. You would kick so much ass right now to bring that to the United States. So much ass. I think the Terra is a good-looking vehicle. But it's a bare bones vehicle. It's made for that market. But there's no reason that we can't have that here. The first generation Xterra sold so well because it was everything you need, nothing you don't. It wasn't fancy. You could get a Rockford Fosgate radio in it. That's about as fancy as you got in it. Other than that, they did a 4-cylinder version only because they did a 4-cylinder version in that Frontier. Most people don't even realize they did a 4-cylinder version of that Xterra. That's how many they didn't sell. It had roll-up windows. But and those days are gone too. We're never going to have roll-up windows. But do some what today's standards bare bones SUV. They'll sell. Before they killed off the Xterra, the reason they killed off the Xterra, I've said this many times, was the roof line of that thing. The stadium seating, they couldn't get that roof line to pass crash testing any longer. I don't know what it was about it. Wouldn't pass anymore. Or they would still be building that truck. I guarantee you that. But they were selling almost as many of that when they killed it off as they sell Titans now. So they can sell, and that was in the downturn of their market. So anyways, I'm rambling, guys. I apologize, and I'll end this soon so you guys don't have to hear me. Let's see. Dog Breath says, Dave, many weeks ago you suggested that Canton WOU. What does that mean, WOU? Lost on that. I'll answer your question if you can fill me on that. Let's see. I'll go through a couple more of these. Let's see. The legendary R34 Skyline piqued my interest within Nissan as a kid. Driven them since. The R34 is a classic, man. But I love that car. But I'm more of an R33 guy, which is weird. I like a buddy of mine. I interviewed him on the podcast, and I did some videoing with him here to get his car on the channel, and he had a brake issue. Something killed our videoing real quick, but it's a GTST that he's got. God, I love that car. Sounds freaking wicked. It's basically a GTR now. He's plushed it up, but the 30, something about the lights I like a little bit better. The R34 front looks great to me. But the back of it, something about the back of it, I just don't like. Let's see. Let's see. Nissan Skylines. I wish. Yeah, you'll see some Skylines here in the United States soon. I mean, there's some here now, but that R34, you're gonna see them everywhere. Every YouTuber, as soon as the 25-year mark hits, they're gonna be everywhere. Every YouTuber is gonna have. I guarantee it. Whether it be TJ Hunt, all these guys, the Stradband. At some point, once those become legal, they're all going to have them for 15 minutes and then dump them. 4x4, what is going on, buddy? The VQ37 Nismorg is a great engine. The HR engine, good engine, man. Sadly, its days are numbered, though. Let's see. It's cool that Roman Atwood had a Armada GTR 350Z. He also bought a lot of Nissans. He's on YouTube. I'll check him out, Joe. They'll put a skinny intake manifold on it to limit its numbers. Maybe Nismore. 20 million subs. Wow, I'll check that out. Nissan better bring over the Terra. I agree, Barkeep. Especially Barkeep, you're in Canada, right? So you guys actually need. That's the one thing, like, all-wheel drive is cool for, like, normal driving. But you guys up there need four-wheel drives. I know, like, in the Denver area, they need a real four-wheel drive. There's certain markets that just need a real four-wheel drive. Let's see. Joe Taylor says, Dave, would you get a Terra or the Bronco if Nissan brought it over with the 3.8-liter V8 or V6? Joe, that's one of the best questions I've ever had, Joe. And guys, once again, Joe, because I like Joe a lot. Let's see. I'm going to do this, Joe. I'm going to do this. Go to, if you're on Instagram, go to Nissan Community News. It's Nissan_community_news. You probably can't read that because of my halo light there, but Joe is a young gentleman that I think is going to be somebody one day. And I want to be friends with people like that are going to be somebodies one day. Joe is a very bright guy. And go to his Instagram. I think, Joe, you're in high school, right? And I don't say that, like, I'm not sucking up to Joe for anything. Like, I just watching how you handle yourself on social media, I think you're going to be somebody someday, Joe. And I love that you love cars, and especially Nissan. But go to his Instagram page and smash that like button. Joe's only got 163 subs. And I'm about to push. I'm going to get you some subs, man. Because, look, listen. Oh, I had it muted. I screen captured your stuff. I'm going to share it on the old Instagrams. But, Joe, you were asking, would I Terra or Frontier? The limiting factor on this, I will say, right now it would be Bronco. And here's the thing with Bronco that gets me excited. Bronco, they are doing a front and rear lockers. Now, you may not be an off-road guy. I don't know. Nissan has offered an electronic rear locker in the Xterra and the Frontier in this last generations. It's awesome. Lockers on off-road it can mean the world. Bronco is getting front and rear lockers with what they call their Sasquatch package, and it comes with a factory 35-inch tires, and it's geared for the 35-inch tires. That is what won me over right now with the Bronco is yeah, I could go buy a Frontier. I could get me right now a 2020 Pro 4X, put a body lift on it, put 35s on it. I have to re-gear it. It's got a rear locker. I can put a lunchbox locker in the front. And then I have a really just kick-ass off-road vehicle. And not that I don't go extreme. I do rock crawling a little bit, but I'm not going up ledges. Like, I would never take these vehicles up that. But the process right now of me with the Bronco is that I can go buy this for under 50 grand. Done. I like working on vehicles. Don't get me wrong. You'll see this vehicle on All Terrain Nation all the time. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to All Terrain Nation, guys. It's our YouTube channel that we do everything on. We're on our goal for 1,000 subs by the end of the year, by the way. But that's what would sway me. Now, the idea for especially this channel to buy a Terra would be freaking amazing. Like, and I still think that the new Frontier would be amazing for this channel. to buy it and to build it for this channel. I do. And I said a long time ago, I said I would go buy it as soon as I could, go buy one, and me and Danny would start building it. But Bronco wasn't in my radar at the time. And my daughter, who means the world to me, wants a Jeep so bad. She wants us to buy a Jeep. And I've had Jeeps. I'm just not a fan of the quality of some of that stuff. Bronco's appealing right now because we can take the top off. She can go ride around town with me. And my daughter is 10 years old. And she's a little adventurer, man. She's gonna be somebody one day, and I just want to, be awesome with her. And I think that the Bronco right now would be, but it would be a close, Joe. Ultimately, it would be really, really close. Let's see. Joe's blushing. I really do, Joe. I think you are a bright young individual, man. I see how you handle yourself, and it's very impressive to me. Let's see. Recently saw the right-hand Nissan SEMA. Yep, 11th grade. Joe Taylor is in the 11th grade. Canadians, yes, like Mr. Miro says, Canadians, they need real four-wheel drives, and I think that was the bummer when they pulled the Titan out of that market, or pulling the Titan out of that market. Not that they were selling a lot, but anyways. 06 XTOR's got to get the 2.7 liter V6 in that Bronco. That is the plan right now. Though I'm not scared of the EcoBoost 4-cylinder. Let's see. Would love the front locker on the 15 Xterra. Yes, that was the one thing that there was a couple things they could have updated the Xterra with that they just didn't. There was Xterra never got any, for whatever reason, the collapse of the economy was a big part of what hurt Xterra. Was Gen 2 popped out in 5. Sales were really good the first year and a half, and then the economy started collapsing and just killed it. In 9, they did a light refresh, but they didn't really add anything other than like a new grill, and they changed the center stack a little bit. And after that, they just never showed it any love. And I think if they would have done something as simple as like a front locker in the Pro 4X, it would have made a big difference. We might still be talking, and that sounds stupid, but we might still be talking about Xterras new on the lot had they did just a couple things like that. Let's see. If we can't get the Terra, at least we can, the Frontier's here. That is true. And the Frontier is a hell of a vehicle. The current, I've got a 17 out in the driveway. Now that one is an SV, my company vehicle. 4-wheel drive, good truck. The seats in it, I will say the seats in the Pro 4X versus the SVs are night and day quality wise. I miss my Pro 4X seats. They're not as comfortable. Nisborg says, get a wrecked GTR, build out the Juke in the video series. Instant YouTube sensation. I've toyed around with, so Nisma, I've toyed around with the Juke of, initially it was going to be a 1 year and done. I bought it last March. Worst time possible to buy a vehicle, by the way. I mean, it didn't cost me much. But I bought the Juke with the intentions of it was with the channel for 1 year. I built it as much as I can, as cheaply as possible with that car. Because I don't want to, a car like the Juke, you don't want to dump $10,000 in a car that's worth $7,000. So, and I'm already, when I get rid of it, I'll lose money on that vehicle. But I'm okay with that. Basically, the YouTube channel pays for anything that I do to the Juke right now. So once again, thank you for just watching the videos. It helps pay for these things. But I've fallen in love with the Juke. I know it's not a YouTube like hit by any means. I'll get 200 to 400 views on a video, which is nothing. I think the Pathfinder video that I've got up right now that I dropped today, let's just because we're talking about this, let's see. Maybe if it loads. Almost 600 views on that, dropped today. Once again, I'm not a Doug DeMuro, guys. Like, I'm not going to get 100,000 views on any of these videos without luck. But the Juke, just that it's not a hotbed of activity. But you drive one of those things with a manual transmission, it's so much fun for what it costs. My 2011 Juke cost me $7,000 out the door, taxes, everything. I could have got a beater 350Z for that, but it was a beater. This Juke was basically a one owner that was well taken care of. And I've had a lot of fun with it, man. The little turbo spools, you guys have heard it on the videos. It spools up. It's fun. And other than that, though, like I've toyed with the idea of keeping it. And because the cool thing about it is it's small, fits in my garage. Like if I needed to just store it, it would fit in there, and I could still get in my garage. And I've toyed around with dropping a 5.6 in it. Seriously, I've toyed around with making it a rear-wheel drive little monster. But to do that, once again, I need the channel to to really kick in. But I will say this: we're on a goal right now. The current trends, we're on goal to hit 5,000 subs by February. Unless I get a cool video that every once in a while, a couple videos we do really well with. The last the live stream that we did, I think we picked up 30 or 40 subs on just that video. When I dropped the Frontier picture, I think I picked up 58 or more subs on that video. So certain videos, like there's certain news that when we break it or first to it, like we will get some love from that. But I need 5 to 10,000 subs to really do what I'd like to do that Juke, and then yeah, I will freaking have fun with it. Flytrap, thank you once again for that, dude. You're very too kind. Let's see, Dave needs a ginormous turbo. Well, so God, it's almost been 2 hours, guys. This is the longest one we've ever done. So the Juke is going to Z1. I've said it for a long time, but it's just been a matter of making it happen. It's not a matter of Z1. I talked to Spencer at the Unofficial Wint the other day, and Spencer's like, dude, you just got to make an appointment. And we're going to tune this thing. They've assured me just by a simple tune of so I think right now the Juke is at 12 PSI with its turbo. They can bump it up probably to 15 or more, and he's like, dude, it's a different car. So after adding that mid pipe, I've said this on the Juke videos. You would have never sold me on adding a cold air intake to anything other than they just sound cool. Doing anything. Everything I've done to the exhaust of that Juke and the intakes and stuff have made that car completely different. Just completely different. But yeah, I would a bigger turbo in that thing would be fun. Except turbos are expensive, man. You're $600 to $1,000 for a turbo. I guess if you, as simple as they are to install, and you figure what it costs to do it, it's probably pretty cheap for the horsepower gains. But I don't know. I also don't want to blow the thing up. Let's see here. We'll do a couple more, guys, and I will get out of your hairs. Let's see, twin turbo Juke. That would be awesome. I like sleeper cars, and I think the Juke would be a fun sleeper car. Could you imagine rolling up, especially my plan of putting you could do the VK 5.6, the old one at 315 horsepower. Could you imagine 315 horsepower, and I forget the torque rating of that engine, under a car that weighs like 2,500 pounds or something? Would be a freaking monster, man. I'm telling you, like, yeah, the Juke Rs were really cool, and I would not spend the money to make it that cool, but it would be fun. And I will say this with Juke R, and I've said this many times too, Nissan England Nismo England got in so much trouble for building that car from Japan. So much trouble. When I worked for Nissan, a lot of talk about how pissed Japan was. But then again, did you guys know that? So Japan doesn't have a lot. They have say in things that happen here in America. But with the Titan, Nissan America built a really kick-ass exhaust for that truck. They did all these really cool things. And Nissan Japan vetoed it. And I think the Titan's one of the best sounding full-size trucks right now anyways. But they had all this stuff for it, and Japan was like, nope, And so Japan doesn't get full-size trucks anyways, which is part of Nissan's problems with the Titan. But anyways, let's see. Let's get into a couple more questions here. Why stop at twin turbos, quad turbos? Yeah. We'll just have turbos sticking out of the rear end of this thing, and in the front, we'll put turbos everywhere. Anything is possible, by the way. Flytrap says 1 million horsepower. Oh god, you guys are crazy. A VK swap juke would be hilarious. It would be well beyond my skill set to do, but I would still do it. I mean, hell, I solid axled my Xterra. That was well beyond my skill set, but I still got it done. So it may take a couple years, but I think it would be fun. Once again, these channels, and I don't say this asking for money, but these channels just would have to. I have to be full time with it to do this stuff. So let me look up, see if I missed any other questions. Let's see. Joe says, any advice on getting an 84 ZX or a 90 ZX? I like the bodies of the 90s more. If I were going to worry, I would go 90s. It's a classic design. Like I was saying earlier, the mid 80s do not hold up as far as design wise. And the Danny bought, I can't say what Danny paid for his, but Danny got a I think it only had 80,000 miles on his, I don't know what year it is, but he's got a ZX 4x4. And it's worth every bit of $10,000 to $15,000, and he doesn't have any of it or close into that. I would go 90Z all day long, but that's my favorite Z of all time too. So I'm probably the wrong guy to ask that. The weird kind of on some of the all-wheel drive steering is a little wacky, and there's the timing belt issue that you got to change those out every so often. But I just like it. But if I was gonna do it, I'd find a twin turbo, and they're out there. You can find twin turbos, but they're going up like crazy right now, so you got to jump now. Let's see. Here in Denver, Xterras were selling like crazy up until they discontinued it. They still sell well used. Yes, 06. I remember Boulder Nissan was buying up. They ordered as many Pro 4X Xterras as they could get, because basically in 15, that's about all Nissan was building was just Pro 4Xs. And yeah, no, a buddy of mine, Austin Schmidt, just sent his Xterra up there. He sold it from Illinois. He V8 swapped his. He put a VK in his, and it just went to Denver. They still buy a ton of Xterras over there, and it still looks good, man. I look at my wife's Gen 2, and of course we wrapped it and stuff, but it's still, I just still like it. There's just a few things they could have done to kind of update it. And I think horsepower would have been pretty easy for them to do. I know a guy that works builds the engines at Deckard, Tennessee plant that builds all the Nissan's engines. He said that 4-liter is well underrated for what it can do. So, any other questions here? Let's see. Devil Dog 53. What's going on, buddy? Wish we would have gotten a second-gen juke in the United States instead of the kicks. Yes, but I will say this, Devil Dog, what Europe is calling a second-gen juke is not a juke to me, man. Like, yeah, they put the cool round lights in the front of it, and it sort of has the shape. But those, what do they call those? The Kermit lights, the turning lights, the running lights on it. They make that car, man. And they went with this, I don't know, they changed it. But I will say this, that second-gen juke is getting lots of praise in Europe right now. Lots of praise. Like, they really like that car. The VK45 from the Infiniti M is probably faster revving than the 56. Probably so. But finding the VK45s it's a little easier to find 56s, Nisborg, than the 45s. Though I do, the M that they put those in, oh my God, it's such a nice little car. If I could find a used M for a decent price, that might be the next build car we do for this channel. Joe Taylor, I like any Xterra. Joe, if you put a capital T next to Xterra again, I'm gonna unsubscribe to your Instagram, sir. I hate when I see people do that because that's not how it's done. I don't know why that is, but that's not how. I mean, if you look at any of the badging, it's not. You don't see a capital X and a T and then small letters. Sorry, Joe. I owned Xterra Nation for a long time. I started that forum. I've been around Xterras. It's just that one goofy quirk. Don't take me seriously about that. Is the 4-liter getting a supercharger from Nismo? Joe Walsh asks. No. But they are going to do some, I know they've got some cool new intakes they're doing. Some, I want to say they've got some headers that they might be doing. Obviously, you've seen the wheels that they're doing, the lift kits and stuff. And there's things that I wasn't even, that they're doing that I don't know yet. Nismo was very limited in what they told me that they were doing. They told me a few months ago, I had a Zoom meeting with them, that they had a bunch of stuff coming. I know they've got an exhaust coming for the 4-liter. But I don't, until the catalog comes out this fall, I don't want to say exactly what they do, because even things like those wheels, you've seen them in that pictures this week. Next fall, like by the time they price all this stuff out to sell, it doesn't mean it'll be there. And I will say this too with the Nismo stuff. I've seen a lot of people bitching about this, and good reason. I talked to the head of Nismo, the head of Nismo North America or United States. I'm not sure his exact title. I said, hey man, I like these wheels and stuff you're coming out with, but I said, if it's not competitive with the aftermarket that's already out there, you're dead on arrival. And he assured me that everything that Nismo is about to drop for their trucks is supposed to be super competitive. So fingers crossed. Yes, Joe Taylor. Yes, just like that. How about that? Let's see. Those M's are super cool. Too bad they're super rare in Canada. Guys, but Joe, go sit in a Kicks, man. Other than the fact that it's just so underpowered, the Kicks it sits nice, and I don't dislike the Kicks. I think it's a cool little vehicle. Let's see. A couple more here. Which 4-liter? I thought they got rid of the 4 for the 3.8. No, when I say 4, I meant the 4.0 Nismo that they were putting in the Xterras and Frontiers. VQ, yeah. What Flytrap was saying, and I will say this too. Geez, Titan's getting some cool parts from Nismo, but XD guys like outraged that I don't think they're building anything for XD. Like, and somebody commented to me today that is XD like that redheaded stepchild or whatever that you kind of want to forget about. And I was like, maybe, because they just didn't sell a ton, man. Everybody that owns an XD loves them and they're super passionate about having an XD. But the facts are this: Nissan did not build a lot of them. Whether you think they did or not, they didn't build a lot of them. So Nissan makes SUVs. Well, they used to. Let's see. We'll get a couple more here. Does this mean that the Pathfinder will be rear-wheel drive? We kind of answered that earlier. My partner seems to think that it will be a rear-wheel drive, and I'm kind of stuck that I think they've made the front-wheel drive 9-speed work. Let's see. Dave, is the 2021 still on the F platform? Yes. It's tweaked. But yes, it will still be on the F platform for the truck line. Joe Taylor says the Kick seems like the last generation Nissan, and the Juke is like the next generation research and development money. Barkeep, I don't know that for a fact that they're not making parts for XD, but it just doesn't make. There are probably a couple things they could put on an XD. Obviously, the 5.6, if you got a gasser, there's things that you could put on it that would convert, but other than that, I don't know. Lots of buybacks on the XD, so they are not pushing them as much at the dealers. I reported a few months back that I thought 2020 would be the last XD. I'm still not convinced that 2021 is not the last year for XD. They can't sell. It doesn't make so. Nissan's got a truck they can't sell now. Why do you want to continue to build something that we know? So the XD is built on the same chassis that the NV van is built on. And why do you want to continue to build something on a chassis that they've already said they're killing the NV van, the full size, the 2500, 3500 van? I just can't imagine that they continue the XD. Or if they do, and I said this a long time ago, take the XD, that's just now your Titan. You do away with the XD name, but you use the framing and everything. And now you've got a truck, you've got a 1500 that can tow, 12,000 pounds or 1195 or whatever it is. Yeah, done deal in my book. Let's see. A lot of buybacks. So I got to that one. All right, guys. Any other questions before I wind this thing down? I want to say thank you for listening to my ramblings tonight. Danny is about done with his adventures, so we should actually see Danny back on one of these videos. And if you haven't yet, go to DaGrootX, DaGrootX, and that's Danny's YouTube channel. Go give him a like. Is there going to be a manual option for the 2021 Frontier? Stay tuned. No, I think no. I don't think there's going to be a manual option, though. I did hear that the Sentra is getting going to stay manual. So, but no, I do not think that the 2021 Frontier will get a manual at all. Guys, I love manual. I don't dislike manual trucks, I should say, but I'm pro manual staying around, but they just do not sell enough of them, guys. And that's really the facts. And Nissan would be the last one to stick with it if they could. Manual's just dead, man. And you're dealing now with a generation coming up that a millennial generation that doesn't want to deal with that at all. And so I was told the other day, though I don't know, I've not gotten a second confirmation on this, but I was told that the manual is not going to be in the Gen 2 or the Gen 3 Frontier. Yeah, Joe Taylor, that would be cool. The VC turbo in a Sentra. There is no market for manual trucks. Newsboard says, I agree. Even though I like them. People that like them, but I just don't. It just doesn't make sense, man. Like all these manufacturers are in a cost cutting. They need to save. Like that's why all these why do you think Mitsubishi and Nissan they bought Mitsubishi was there? You need to unfortunately merge all. You need all these companies to merge, unfortunately, to build cars as cheaply as they can. So if the Frontier is being revealed in October, we should know by next Friday. I was thinking October 1st, but who knows? Yeah, Joe, I know you follow the same places I do on some of that news. If you guys don't know, Nissan has their own media site called nissannews.com. Check them out. A lot of these manufacturers do their own media, private media sites, but Nissan doesn't do that. So other than that, and you get in there, they'll send you press releases and early stuff that you got to sign waivers and stuff for. Nissan really doesn't have their own stuff. Let's see. Yes, everyone says buy a manual and then do not. John, that's so I'm in some for All Terrain Nation, and if you didn't know, I'm buying a Bronco, but with All Terrain Nation, I track that stuff for the Bronco, and Bronco guys are all up in arms that you couldn't get the 35-inch tires with a manual transmission. Ford came out 2 weeks ago and said, all right, we're going to offer them the Sasquatch package in the manual transmission. And I guarantee you it's almost a 1 year and done that Ford gave in to all these people that said they would do it, and they won't buy them. So I guarantee you, I would have never offered the Bronco in a manual transmission anyways, even though I like it and I like the crawler gear they do, but I just don't think it's, and once again, I own a manual transmission car out there. I love them. I'm not anti. I just don't think most people would. 4x4 says the automatics do everything better than a manual now. That wasn't the case a long time ago. I agree. When you had like a 4-speed manual or something, yeah, you had no control. Your power range your torque range was all over the place versus like a little 5-speed manual transmission. They offer the manual in the wrong trim levels. Maybe Barkeep. Would you guys, and we'll save this for next week, but would you guys be interested if that Maxima was a manual transmission? So next week is Maxima week, guys. We will, I promise you, we will. I mean, obviously, you've seen that I put the thumbnails out 2 weeks ago to do it, and then some news broke. But we will do Maxima, and Maxima, I think this is the 40th anniversary is either the last year of Maxima or it goes EV. So, anyways. All right, Joe, good night, buddy. Thank you for being in. Thank you for everybody that's made it in. Thank you for all 16 that are left for this over 2 hour episode. I do greatly appreciate all this. Just the watch time means a lot to the channel, but all the super chats and everything mean the world to the channel. So thank you for all that. Ramesh, good night, buddy. Hell no to manual Maximas. So guys, we did it. Longest episode ever, and we did it. So from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you're watching us around the globe, if you haven't yet, go over to All Terrain Nation. Hit subscribe over there. Help me out. I'm on my goal to 1,000 subs on that channel. We talk about anything, basically, four wheels. It's not brand specific. And Joe, what are we? I know Joe knows the slogan at the end. We are out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. Live Sundays on All Terrain Nation if you want to talk trucks, SUVs, or whatever.